this episode, we start with change management, which may not sound like a security topic at first, but it is one of the most practical security ideas you will study. A change can be something ordinary, like installing an update, adding a firewall rule, changing a cloud setting, replacing a server, modifying an application, or giving a user access to a new system. None of those actions may look dangerous by themselves. They may even be necessary. The problem is that normal changes can accidentally break protection, expose data, create downtime, or open a new weakness. Change management is the process of planning, reviewing, approving, testing, communicating, and tracking changes so that useful work does not create avoidable security problems. You are not studying paperwork for its own sake. You are studying how organizations keep normal activity from turning into unnecessary risk. Before we continue, a quick note. This audio course is part of our companion study series. The first book is a detailed study guide that explains the exam and helps you prepare for it with confidence. The second is a Kindle-only ebook with 1,000 flashcards you can use on your mobile device or Kindle for quick review. You can find both at Cyber.Me in the Bare Metal Study Guide series. A lot of security failures begin with someone trying to fix, improve, or update something. That is what makes change management so important. A person might apply a patch to close a vulnerability, but the patch might break an application that depends on an older component. A firewall rule might be added to allow a business service to work, but the rule might be too broad and expose more systems than intended. A cloud storage setting might be changed to help a team share files, but the change might accidentally make sensitive data available to the wrong people. These are not always dramatic attacker stories. Many are ordinary operational mistakes. Change management gives you a way to slow down just enough to ask what could be affected before the change reaches a live environment. You should think of change management as a safety process, not as a delay process. It is easy to imagine it as something that gets in the way, especially when someone wants a change done quickly. But the goal is not to create frustration. The goal is to protect the organization from preventable damage. When a change is reviewed properly, people can ask whether the right systems were identified, whether the timing makes sense, whether users will be affected, whether security controls will still work, and whether there is a recovery plan if the change goes badly. That review may feel slower than just making the change, but it is usually much faster than recovering from an outage, explaining a data exposure, or rebuilding systems after a preventable mistake. A change can affect confidentiality, integrity, and availability in different ways. Confidentiality is affected when a change exposes information to people or systems that should not see it. Integrity is affected when a change allows data, settings, or software to be altered in an unauthorized or unreliable way. Availability is affected when a change makes a system slow, unstable, unreachable, or completely unavailable. These three security goals help you ask better questions before a change happens. Could this update expose data? Could this setting allow unauthorized changes? Could this restart interrupt a critical service? Could this new access create a path to something sensitive? When you connect change management to confidentiality, integrity, and availability, CIA, it becomes easier to see why this is a security process. Misconfiguration is one of the most common ways a normal change becomes risky. A misconfiguration happens when a system is set up incorrectly, even if the person making the change had good intentions. A storage location may be set to public instead of private. A firewall rule may allow traffic from too many sources. A user group may be granted administrative access by mistake. A logging setting may be turned off during troubleshooting and never turned back on. A server may be deployed with default settings that should have been changed. These mistakes can be quiet because the system may still appear to work. The business function may succeed while the security control is weakened. Change management helps catch those mistakes by requiring review, testing, documentation, and approval before the change becomes normal. Outages are another reason change management matters. An outage happens when a system or service is unavailable, and it can be caused by something as simple as an update applied at the wrong time. A database restart might interrupt an application. A certificate replacement might break a secure connection if it is installed incorrectly. A network change might stop users from reaching an important service. A cloud configuration change might remove a dependency that another system still needs. Availability is part of security because people need systems and information to be usable when required. If a hospital, bank, school, store, or government service cannot operate because of a bad change, that is not just an inconvenience. It is a security concern because the organization has lost reliable access to something it depends on. Change management also helps prevent new vulnerabilities from being introduced. A vulnerability is a weakness that could be exploited or could increase risk. Sometimes a change is meant to reduce one vulnerability, but creates another one by accident. For example, a team might open a temporary network path for troubleshooting and forget to close it. A developer might disable an input validation check to solve a performance problem, but that could make the application easier to attack. An administrator might grant broad permissions to get a service running, then leave those permissions in place. You should pay attention to the word temporary in security. Temporary changes often become long-term weaknesses when nobody tracks them. A good change process makes sure exceptions are reviewed, limited, and removed when they are no longer needed. Broken controls are another hidden danger. A control may still exist, but a change can stop it from working correctly. Logging may still be installed, but a change might stop important events from being captured. Endpoint protection may still be present, but a new exclusion might allow risky files to avoid scanning. Network segmentation may still be designed on paper, but a new rule might create a path around it. Backup jobs may still be scheduled, but a storage change might cause them to fail. The danger is that people may believe they are still protected because the control name still appears in the environment. Change management forces you to ask whether the control still works after the change, not just whether it exists. Testing is one of the best ways to reduce change risk. Testing means trying to learn what will happen before the change affects the real production environment. Production is the live environment that people rely on for actual work. If a change can be tested somewhere safer first, the organization has a chance to find problems early. Testing might reveal that an application fails after an update, that a permission change is too broad, that a security control stops collecting events, or that a restart takes longer than expected. Testing does not guarantee perfection because test environments are not always identical to production. Still, it reduces guesswork. You are giving yourself evidence before making a decision that could affect real users, real data, and real services. Approvals matter because changes often affect more than the person making them. A network change may affect application users. A cloud change may affect data owners. A software update may affect support staff. A security tool change may affect operations teams. Approval is not just someone saying yes because a form requires it. Good approval means the right people have reviewed the impact and understand the risk. The person requesting the change may understand the technical reason for it, but another person may understand the business timing, the data sensitivity, or the customer impact better. Change management brings those views together. This is especially important when a change touches sensitive data, critical services, privileged access, or controls that protect multiple systems. Communication is part of change management because people need to know what is happening and when. If a system will be unavailable, affected users should know before the outage begins. If a security control will behave differently, the support team should know what alerts or user questions to expect. If a sign-in process changes, users may need clear instructions so they do not mistake the change for a phishing attempt. Poor communication can turn a manageable change into confusion. People may report false incidents, ignore real warnings, or try risky workarounds because they do not understand what changed. A good change process includes communication before, during, and after important changes. You are not only changing technology, you are guiding people through the impact of that technology changing. Documentation keeps the change from becoming a mystery later. When something breaks days or weeks after a change, people need a record of what was changed, who approved it, when it happened, why it happened, and what systems were affected. Without documentation, troubleshooting becomes guesswork. Security investigations also become harder because nobody can tell whether suspicious activity was caused by an approved change, a mistake, or an attack. Documentation should not be treated as a decorative extra. It is memory for the organization. It helps future teams understand the environment they inherited. It also supports accountability because important changes should not disappear into conversation, memory, or informal messages. If the change matters enough to affect security or operations, it matters enough to record clearly. Emergency changes are a special case because sometimes waiting for the normal process would create more risk. If a critical vulnerability is being actively exploited, an organization may need to patch quickly. If a system is down, a team may need to make a rapid fix. If an account is being misused, access may need to be removed immediately. Emergency change does not mean no process. It means a faster process with the right level of urgency, communication, and after-the-fact review. The key is to avoid using emergency as an excuse for poor planning. If every change becomes an emergency, the organization has a bigger process problem. Emergency changes should still be tracked, documented, reviewed, and tested when possible. Speed matters, but so does control. You should also understand that change management supports learning. After a change succeeds, the organization can record what worked and use that knowledge later. After a change fails, the organization can study what went wrong and improve the process. Maybe the testing was incomplete. Maybe the wrong stakeholder was left out. Maybe a dependency was missed. Maybe the backout plan was unclear. Maybe communication was too late. This review mindset is important because security improves through feedback. A mature organization does not pretend that every change will be perfect. It builds a process that makes mistakes less likely, detects them earlier, reduces their damage, and learns from them afterward. That is much stronger than relying on memory, luck, or individual heroics. The conclusion is that change management protects you from the risk hidden inside normal work. Updates, firewall rules, cloud settings, access changes, application deployments, restarts, and documentation updates may all be necessary, but each one can create security problems if it is handled carelessly. A good change process helps you think before acting. It asks what systems are affected, what could break, what security controls might change, who needs to approve the work, how the change will be tested, who needs to be informed, and how the organization will recover if the change goes badly. This is why change management belongs in Security Plus. It is not just administrative paperwork. It is one of the ways security survives the constant movement of real technology environments.
Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.